Okay, so I'm here. I actually had a really tough time yesterday. I was almost not going to make it, but after multiple cancellations, fighting a snowstorm, again cancellations, I made sure I'm here because I really wanted to talk to you about trust. I don't think we're here only and primarily to build the next big device, to change something in a dramatic way, but the fundamental building block of everything right now is about trust. But creating trust is not easy. It's a bit of a challenge. And we all need to find the best way to create trust in today's time and era and age. So I just wanted to take you through a small journey for the next 30 minutes. Forbes magazine says that technology is transforming industries in a way that we haven't seen in the last 500 years. For those of you who are maybe familiar with the accounting industry as an example, if the founder of the accounting industry, Luca Pacioli, who lived 500 years ago, was alive today, he would probably get a heart attack because of all the things that are happening through technology within that industry. And that profession now is being transformed. And this is just one example of how technology is changing things. Many, many years ago, in the year 2005, the Roman Catholic Church went through something big. It's a major event for everybody in the world. Doesn't matter if you're a believing Christian or not. It's a question of faith. A new pope had to be selected. A new pope had to be elected. And this was how people captured those memories because they were there. They were at the Vatican. They were waiting for the announcement. This is something they would share with their kids and their grandkids and saying, hey, I was there when this happened. See, I have a picture. I took a photograph. I remember that day. Such a memorable thing to happen when you can witness history being made. But for some reason, the same thing had to repeat again after a few years. And people had changed the way they capture memories. Because now, the digital world, digital devices, smartphones, cell phones, our small cameras had taken over our lives. And now we were capturing everything around us in a different way. And you can see that in this picture here, that people's lives have changed. And this is what is happening now, and it has accelerated to such a huge extent. Let's talk about professions and people who are trusted with being professionals that we trust. You know, nannies, as an example, are trusted people. I have a 2-year-old. I trust my nanny, and she takes care of him sometimes. And so nannies have been people who are being trusted through the ages. But now, we're all technologists. The world has changed. And so has the profession. We now have devices that are watching our kids. And they're doing an amazing job because they can watch them 24 hours a day. You don't need to be bothered about a human being involved, whether you're using a nanny or not. The point is, if you look behind it, the fundamental aspect behind trust has changed. So we're changing the way we trust things in the world. Are we moving away from trusting people? Do we not like people anymore? No, of course we do. We all are people here and we trust each other. But the way we do things has changed. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's great because we're finding new ways to create value to change the world. So start thinking about things in your life today where you're using technology and you were not using it 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I know many people in the audience right now are not automated. You don't have smart homes, you don't have smart locks, you have regular locks with regular keys, and that's fine. You don't have to be technologically advanced to be at this expo here. So we're here to learn and to understand. Many, many, many years ago, we also trusted the banks. Now, who here does not have a bank account? Okay, everybody has a bank account. Good. We still trust banks. I've got all my dollars and my pennies stored in a bank, and I'm hoping the bank keeps it. And they save it for me, they protect it. I've got a savings account, I have a checking account, I have a locker, I've got so many things. I've got investments, and so have you guys. And so we trust banks. There's a relationship there. But the banking system that has started hundreds of years ago is now being shaken up. It's being slowly shaken up by something we call cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm not supporting cryptocurrencies, I'm not selling them, I'm not saying they have taken over banks, but they have started a conversation that I'm sure all of us are paying attention to. Towards the end of last year, when Bitcoin was really rising and the prices were high, I am sure your spouses or your friends said to you, hey, did you buy any Bitcoin? And you said, no, I don't know what that is. I don't know. And we're all going through that. We don't know, should we buy cryptocurrency? Should we not buy it? Is it safe? We don't know. And that's what is disruption. That's what means to disrupt something. Something is running fine, but then something else comes in and it shakes things up. Now, do we trust cryptocurrencies? No, we don't. Not necessarily, but a change has started. And where will it go depends on regulations, how we work with it, how we do things with it. And so that thing has to come. Imagine we're still in the era where the internet was just invented. And you didn't have your first email address yet. You were going to create your first email ID, whether it was on Yahoo or MSN. And that's the era we are with respect to cryptocurrency. So the world tomorrow is going to be different. Whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's Internet of Things, whether it's space travel, whether you're disrupting the coffee supply chain, whether it's how things work is complex. And not just one technology can do all of it. Internet of Things can't change the world on its own. Cryptocurrency on its own cannot change everything. Everything has to work with each other. We all have to work with each other. Technologies have to converge together to work with each other to create that bigger change. Here are 10 predictions that I wanted to show you over the next 20 years. The World Economic Forum talks about them, and they say, well, these are the things that are going to happen. It will be the end of the 19th century grid. Internet of Things is no longer about things. It's Internet of everything. And the internet will be everywhere, from smart cities to our homes to healthcare. And experts also say that we will be partly machines as well. And that's the idea of singularity, if you know about it. So are we really heading into that direction? We don't have the answers yet, but where's technology going? Where are we taking technology right now? Is it heading to that direction? And before I go there, I want to talk to you about a revolution. And I want to understand what a revolution is and how the idea of a revolution has changed. Many, many years ago, these were the faces of revolution. Okay, I'm not talking about Mel Gibson, but actually the character he played, Sir William Wallace, in whatever context it was, Che Guevara, or Malcolm X, and there's thousands of other names that we could put up on the screen and say, well, these are history's revolutionaries, and I just could fit these three in the screen. But the idea of a revolution was different many, many years ago. Is technology changing that? How is technology changing that? How are all of you changing that? Because you are part of the Internet of Things industry. So let's take a look at that. Today's revolutionary is still about freedom. It's still about voicing your opinion. And it's still about doing things in a different way. This is the revolution of today. It's the Internet of Things powered toilet. Literally. It's a toilet that can sense different things, from content analysis to diet suggestions, and contact your physician and track your friends. How cool is that? Now you can track friends depending on what happens in the morning. Okay, you can put on your virtual reality glasses and you could be gaming 8 o'clock in the morning while your friend is gaming on their own toilet. Now, come on, some of these things that we see out there are so different from what we actually do for work. We don't build these toilets on an everyday basis. We're working on greater things. And yes, this has a funny side to it, but this will be out there next year, the year after, and we'll start making fun of these things, but then 5 years from now, we all will have this toilet and we'll be gaming first thing in the morning. So that's the revolution that is taking place today. Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing is not the question. The point is things are changing in a different direction. We've probably heard about the fourth industrial revolution, and there's so much talk about it that I do not want to talk about it anymore. But I'm sure you've come across this term that, we are in an era where people and machines will come together, and there will be new outcomes, and this is the time of the maximum productivity. I think this is old news. I think the fourth industrial revolution is already over because we're heading into something different. We are heading into the fifth industrial revolution, where artificial intelligence is changing the way we behave, we function. And although we're not there yet, this is the next iteration of these industrial revolutions that will take place. And I don't know how you feel about it, but this time is definitely happening, and I'll prove to you later that we are on the path to making this happen faster than before, faster than ever. But before we head into that, let's talk a little bit more about the convergence of technology and how it changes our lives. What is it doing to us on an everyday basis? So I have some good news and I have some bad news for both genders, and I'm going to talk about genders, men and women here, okay? So men, this is bad news because, and this is just fun that people are making about the Internet of Things and robotics and technologies, that hey, robotics and IoT and industry technology is taking over everything. And it's a funny way of looking at things, but we're moving faster towards robotics. It's a reality, and the possibilities are endless. And are we going to have robot babies in the future? I don't know, but it seems like a possibility because we are making strides in robotics, IoT, AI, and start thinking about the convergence of all of these things. I want you to go up a little bit, like a 25,000-foot view, and think of the broader implications when all these technologies come together. And every technology is playing a pivotal part. IoT, AI, analytics. So everything is coming together. Is this the future we're heading into? And Jimmy Fallon did this funny picture as well, that hey, the possibilities are endless. But behind the fun, behind what people do, talk about technology and the world that we live in, there's a stark reality to this as well. If you guys are aware of what happened last week, there was a big significant event in the world of technology in general. And so we'll talk about broader technology. This happened when Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress. He was talking about privacy. He was answering questions about Facebook and how things are over at Facebook and what happened. Did anybody watch this, or did anybody see this? Okay, some people, I'm sure a couple of you, okay? It was very interesting to see what questions they asked him and what were the answers he gave them. But in the end, I think it all boiled down to one thing, and one thing only, is trust. Where is trust going today? Are we maintaining it? Is technology maintaining it? Are we giving it away? Are we breaking it? And that fundamental question needs to be answered every single day, is what are we doing with trust? Where is trust going? I encourage you to go back to YouTube and maybe watch the highlights of this, because you will laugh in some places and you will cry in some places when you see the questions that were asked. And some of them were really important questions. And behind all of this trust, the question was, and this question is asked by every customer of yours today probably, is my information secure? And we are also asking this question, is if I have my things on the cloud, is my information secure? If I'm connecting my plant to these IoT devices, are they sending all this information to some third party who should not have access to it? Is it going to China? Is it going to Ukraine? Is it going to Japan? There's so many questions customers ask as well. And so let's think about it. What does trust really comprise of? What is it that people are afraid to lose? Well, people, you can connect trust with money, you can connect it with assets, tangible, valuables. There's trust within emotions as well. There's trust with the brand. So all of these things are connected to trust. It's not only about money. It's not only about losing out and being non-profitable. So trust for me, if you'd want me to define trust, it's about custody. If you're able to maintain custody of something and you're not able to break that bond, then you're maintaining trust. So I want to talk to you about 3 core technologies of the future that will manage our trust, that we will hand over our trust to. And over today and tomorrow, in all the conversations that you have with everybody here, and I encourage you to talk to everybody, is, what are we doing with our products and solutions, and how are we defining trust? How are we governing trust? How are we maintaining trust? So let's talk about these 3 technologies. And I will give you my version of the simple form of these technologies, because some of them can be complex I find them complex. So I'll also talk about the simple way of remembering them. The first one is artificial intelligence. There's 1,000 ways we can all use to define artificial intelligence. But if you've used Netflix, you've used Siri, you've used Facebook, you've used Amazon, you've already interacted with artificial intelligence. Okay, is there a connection between Internet of Things and artificial intelligence? Yes, of course. Blockchain and AI? Yes, of course. Everything is connected, and no single technology can just power the world and then go be on its own. For me, artificial intelligence is not about the complexity of it. It's not about how complicated it is and how it's taking over our jobs and our lives, but it's really about freedom. Literally, if next time you hear artificial intelligence, just think about freedom. It's freedom from doing mundane tasks. It's freedom from doing those repetitive things that we as people do not like. Okay? Imagine one day your boss comes up and says, hey, I no longer need you sitting on your desk because AI has taken over your job to 99%, and you don't need to perform any of these tasks anymore because it's all automated now, and you don't have to be here anymore. So why don't you go and figure out other solutions and other things that our organization does, okay? And that's your true calling. That's what we really, really should be focusing on, is how can we do other things in a different way when we automate so many different things. Now, many years ago, banking was manual. We were manually going into the branch. They used to write in a ledger. Now banking is automated. It's in the internet. We use apps. Everything is just so changed. And we're in the same process right now. AI might seem a bit complex, but it's all about freedom from doing those tasks we all hate to do. So start thinking in that way about artificial intelligence. What about blockchain? We hear blockchain all the time. Every conversation is about blockchain. I understand none of it, seriously. And you can define it in so many different ways. Cryptocurrency is about blockchain. The shipping logistics industries are being changed by blockchain. Yes, it's a ledger in the air where nothing can be changed. Every record is always there. It cannot be stolen. It's recorded permanently. There's just so many nuances to it that sometimes we figure it's difficult to attach it to what we do. How does it affect me? What do I do? And so I have one definition for blockchain, if you really want to understand it, is it's peace of mind, okay? When blockchain gets implemented and you have technologies such as blockchain that are backing something up, whether it's connected to IoT, whether it's connected to AI, it's about peace of mind where you don't have to worry about trust because blockchain enables the trust portion of things. So the first one was freedom for AI. The second one, blockchain, is more about trust and peace of mind. And of course, we're here for the Internet of Things. Everything is connected to everything else. My toaster is connected to my toilet, is connected to my car, is connected to the road. The smart home, there's just so many different things that you will talk about in the next couple of days. That how do you make sense of, how do you define Internet of Things in just a minute? For me, personally, the Internet of Things is about connecting different things together. It's about a highway. It's about the information of highway that has all this information traveling on it that we can capture, we can utilize, and we can use to do different things. And that's really it. It's as simple as that. So freedom for artificial intelligence, peace of mind for blockchain, and a highway for Internet of Things. It's as simple as that. And so with every business, I want to talk more about trust within business now that we looked at 3 core technologies that will shape our trust. But within business, there's 2 aspects, as I have seen working with so many different organizations. It's the inside of the business, and it's the outside. How do you run things inside your organization, and how do you work with customers, stakeholders, partners who are outside the business? And so there's literally 3 things in each of these sides, in the inside and the outside, that you need to be careful about, that you need to understand. Internally to any business, there's 3 core things that will determine your success. This is keeping in mind the 4th Industrial Revolution, the changing times, IoT, disruption, all of that. So in today's era, what do you really need in order to be successful within a business? You have to have a purpose, a mission statement, a goal to have X amount of revenue or sales. That's not a purpose, it's just a target. It's a target that you've got to have X amount of revenue booked in. That's great, you've got to have it, but you've got to redefine your organization a little bit, or align with the true purpose of your organization in terms of creating value. Why are you in the marketplace in the first place? Are you there to generate profits or revenue? That's a good goal again. But think about purpose, that we want to redefine the lives of our customers. We want to change and add value to the lives of our customers. And as organizations focus on purpose, that really changes their success model. It changes the way they become successful. The second one is people. You have to absolutely invest and focus on the people who work within your organizations and who run your organizations. If you don't take care of the people within the organization, they do not take care of the organization. So it's more of a message for leaders, for teams, that people within organizations are the biggest asset that you can ever have. If you have a smaller team, but it's a team that's focused, is what you need to be successful. So people is the bigger paradigm, because as newer generations are coming into the workforce, the millennials, the X, Ys, and Zs, it all boils down to people. And you cannot only focus on revenues and drive them towards there. And the third thing is process. If you don't have processes within your organization, whether it's a sales process, accounting, operations, you will never succeed. You're on a path to failure if you do not have processes in place for everything. And so these 3 things, in today's time and era, having a purpose, focusing on people, and having processes that define how you work are a sure way to succeed with the internal alignment. What about external? What do customers want? How does that trust paradigm work with customers? So here are 3 things that customers want, and this is all they need from you. They want you to sustain them. They want you to help them grow. They want you to help them stay alive. They want you to help them to stay afloat. That's what customers want from you. Do they want your brand new software because you made it? I don't think so. But do they need it because you think it's good for them and they can increase the value that they get? Maybe yes. So you've got to start thinking in a different way when you think about your customers. It's not only about sales, but it's also about helping them stay where they are, helping them grow. They want to be saved. They want to be saved from threats within the market. Can you help them be sharper? Can you help them stay ahead of the curve? And they want that. They want you to be their best advocate. They want you to protect them from local, global competition, threats, disruption. And so when you have that conversation with your customer, the paradigm changes. And the third one is add a tremendous amount of value. It's going above and beyond what they've given you the money for. It's above and beyond the software they purchased from you or the products and services they purchased from you. And it's really about adding a tremendous amount of value to your customers' lives so that they can be successful, they can be valuable. The world tomorrow is going to be super crazy, okay? And we all here are defining that world. We're going to have a transportation revolution, a car revolution, galactic revolution, learning revolution, the end of fossil fuels. There's just so many different things happening that how do you keep tabs on all of that? Automated cars, robotics, Internet of Things, AI is going to redefine the world we live in. How do we make sense of all of it? I think we have to go back to these 3 points, internally and externally, to be able to say, okay, I'm in alignment with some of this. And many of these, I'm guaranteeing that all of these 7 things will happen. We're already moving towards an era of no smartphones. If you have the new Apple iWatch, you don't need to have your phone anymore because it has a built-in phone. So you can go out without your phone. And that's where we're going. Virgin Galactic just did a test flight, and they want to go to Mars by 2020, 2030, and they will. Somebody will. Whether it's fossil fuels or the mind revolution, things are already going in this direction. And so where do we go from here? There's too much going on. How do we crystallize all of this? And I think there's just a simple way of doing it. That whatever you do in your world of Internet of Things, you've got to start on building trust. You've got to start, whether it's at a customer level, it's at an employee level, it's at a competition level, and it's important to work with competition today as well. You can't just be on your own. If you heard about it just a few days ago, 3 large companies, Amazon, Google, and I think it was Microsoft, I could be mistaken. The 3 of them now joined hands to tackle a specific industry problem, the healthcare insurance industry problem. So now you have to work with your competition to change the paradigm. And so every IoT project, every IoT initiative, your product should focus on building and maintaining trust. And you always should start with trust in your mind. How do I build trust? How does my product build and maintain trust with my customers and my stakeholders? So over the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, I encourage you to meet as many people as you can, whether you know them or not, and don't just stick with people that you know, but seek out people who are new to you. It's a fresh face, and say to them, hey, I've never seen you at this event before. Where did you come from? Who are you? Are you a friend? Are you a competition? What do you guys do? And talk to them and meet them and broaden your perspectives and share the knowledge, because collectively in this room, I've been told this is the top creme de la creme IoT talent in the Nordics. And I can see that. We have over 700 people here during this event. So please utilize that opportunity to broaden your horizon and to make sure you exchange as much value as you can. And that's all from me. You will see me here for the next 2 days. I hope my message gives you a little bit of ground to have those discussions today and to have a really, really amazing time. I'll run this later, but thank you so much, and we will kick off the rest of the program today. Thank you very much for being here.